It's your boy Rodney Perry. I'm bringing you an evolutionary experience. Hey, it's game time.
Hi, this is India with Designer Accessory Adoption. Thanks for watching this video and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, thank you for clicking play. And if you are returning, thank you so much for watching and coming back. Today we will do a conversational topic, which is going to be the first one that I am going to do on my channel. And it is going to be more so about an inspiration that I got from an article that I read on Purseblog. I will link the article down below so that way you can read it if you're interested. And we'll go ahead and get started with today's topic. So like I said, this is going to be an article that I read and was inspired by that topic. Let me just give credit where credit is due. I am going to mess up this girl's name, I think. Her name is Alejandra Machin. But I will link the article down below and then also put the name next to it so that way I can give her credit. I did enjoy her article her blog pretty much, that she wrote on through Purseblog. And the title of it is Hot or Not, Logos and Monogram Prints. Where do you draw the line between obnoxious or upscale? And I thought it was an interesting topic, a nicely written blog post, and it does kind of push a different thought process, and she goes through pros and cons pretty much about kind of logos and her perceptions and things like that. So I thought this was an interesting topic, like I said, and I probably said this for the third time. And pretty much it's just, I thought it was just an interesting conversation to have. I love luxury, I love fashion, I love contemporary brands, and partaking in those and thinking about it from a different perspective is always something nice to do. So I will just I'll read through the pros and cons and then also go down to the conversation. That way I can start the article. Not start the article, but give you my opinion, and I would love to hear back from you on your opinions as well. So she kind of talks about logo prints, her thoughts, and her kind of experiences with them, with her daily job, and just kind of people watching and things like that. And then going back down through it, she kind of summarized quotes from other people that have given their opinions on how they feel about logos and brands and things like that. So just to go over pros and cons before I go into it, like I mentioned. So first up, her 4 pros are: logos/monograms can give more texture and depth to a piece. A recognizable brand logo adds a bit of opulence and can make the wearer feel pretty lavish. In some instances, this is pro number 4. In some instances, wearing a branded item can help showcase some part of our identity that we want others to see. Much like how a visible Nike check makes one look sporty, the strategic use of a branded designer item can let others know that we want to be seen as glamorous, creative, a #girlboss, etc. And then pro number 5, visible logos can help display buying power in situations where it might be beneficial to the wearer. Now I'll go over the cons. So con number 1, logo/monogram prints are already rather attention grabbing. So sometimes it can be hard to match them, or they make it too easy to go overboard and make an outfit look too busy. Con number 2, highly visible logos can draw unwanted attention to the wearer in situations they prefer not to stand out. The downside of displaying buying power. And then con number 3, monogram prints go in and out of style. Sometimes over familiarity can really hurt the brand's image. And then she has in parentheses, Burberry plaid comes to mind. So first up, I would like to know what you think what are the pros and cons of wearing logo and monogram print. I can understand where she's coming from with her pros and cons for all of those, and just kind of basically stating why someone would want to wear them and why someone may find them somewhat of an issue, I'd say, or a sticking point. So I don't think I have any more additional things to state related to pros and cons of wearing logo. Going down here to the comments, I did really like one person's comment, and I'm just going to kind of paraphrase it, but I encourage you to read through the comments because it is an interesting conversation. And the reason I want to highlight this one is because it kind of speaks to kind of what my opinions are on them. Then I'll give my opinion. So this person that wrote their opinion, and they already started with, this is likely going to not be a popular opinion, so just do not come to me with the personal attacks. But basically they were saying only houses with historic logos, monograms, signature patterns can really pull it off. So she's talking about Gucci, Fendi, Louis Vuitton, Dior, Celine, Goyard. And she also mentions a classic, I can't actually say who it is. It might be a male. That person is what I will say. A classic Vuitton travel bag and monogram canvas is perfectly in line with the house's heritage, which I can understand what she means there. She goes on to say, I don't care for logos on clothing. I think 99% of the time it looks vulgar, no matter the brand. So kind of what she was going, what she mentioned, and I'm just going to paraphrase it, is she kind of talks about her, sorry, I can't say who, I don't know who it is, but this person goes on to say pretty much that only houses with historic logos, monograms, signature prints. So basically those fashion houses that have been using them for years, they're staple in their collection and they're known for those. It's not like something that they just started doing now because the 90s trend is in and everybody wants to splatter their logos on everything. So I can understand where they're coming from that, where like that is something where it looks classic, it's timeless, and it's a staple within the fashion house. The person also goes on to say that kind of mixing logos in one outfit, such as like a belt, hat, scarf, just may be a little bit too much. It starts to just not look, it doesn't look positive when you start mixing a bunch of logos. And otherwise, you can go ahead and read like I said, I'll put the article down below so you can read a little bit more of the conversation there. But I do agree with that person's thought. One fashion house I can think of, like a contemporary brand, like for example, Tory Burch, for example. My personal opinion is and it totally depends on your personal style. I understand definitely where they're coming from when they talk about pretty much what's more, I think about it in a way, what's more acceptable. And it's kind of more so what we are conditioned to accept, really. So when you're used to seeing a fashion house, for example, like they gave the examples of LV and Dior and Gucci, where they have been using monogram prints and logos for a long time, you're used to seeing that, and it's not more, it doesn't seem more of like a trend per se, because they've been doing it. They may revamp it, they may change it, they may do different things with it, but it was always there. Whereas that's a newer fashion house, right? They're not a luxury fashion house, but they're more in the contemporary market of it. So it's not like they're inexpensive, definitely, by any means of a stretch of the imagination. But their recent rendition of hopping on this logo trend, where now they have the Tory Burch monogram logo in smaller print and it's splattered on a canvas handbag. I'm not a fan of that. It kind of is a turn off to me. I feel like obviously these fashion houses, their intent is to make money. It is to drive fashion trends. And the trend now is the 90s style, big logos, all of that stuff. So I just don't personally like that. And I feel like, whether right or wrong, I don't personally like it when I see a fashion house kind of, it just is obvious that they're hopping onto the trend, whereas the monogram print for Gucci, they've been using that for decades and decades. So you see bags all the way back from the 60s and 50s with Gucci monogram on it. So it's not like they just started this whole monogram trend. So I don't know, it just seems a little off-putting, at least to me, when I see a logo print from another fashion house that hasn't been doing it hasn't introduced it from the beginning, and they're just kind of basically riding the wave right now. I also think that the other question that she put in the article, which is, where do you draw the line? And I feel like that depends on you. Me personally, I do not foresee myself, I won't say never, but I do not foresee myself being head to toe in monogram or any type of logos. That's just not my personal style. There's a great placement of logos, and people are complex, and so where I may feel like it's acceptable to wear a logo jacket but not wear a big logo belt or earrings, people are going to have different style opinions, and I think no one can expect anyone to be all logos or not logos. It's just kind of a blend of both. I kind of don't like the trend. I don't like the trend of like the logos plastered on a t-shirt, but people do like that, and to each his own. So I feel like that's my personal opinion. So it kind of goes with personal style. Personally, too many logos is not a thing that I like, but I understand why some people like it. For me, my opinion is I feel like it's just a little too flashy. I like understated pieces. I like that you can see maybe that you see a logo and you know that it's either you instantly recognize who it's from, or you kind of feel like it's something that is a piece of quality. But at the same time, I don't really feel comfortable walking around with something where it just screams, I spent $2,000 on it. That's just not my style. But to each his own, do you if that's your thing. I feel like it is more acceptable, per se, when you see a historic fashion house that's been doing it for years use it, versus when you see some brands that may not have did the whole plastered logo thing, and now they're jumping on that trend, like I mentioned when I use the example of Tory Burch. It just is a little bit off-putting, and it's not really something that I'm personally attracted to. So that would be just my personal preference. But I think that digging a little bit deeper to that is, I want to ask myself and you, why do we feel like that's okay? Do we feel like it's okay because it speaks to the history? Do we feel like it's okay because that's what we're used to seeing, so it's familiar? And then when you see someone else that is doing the same thing, I guess is what I would describe it as, or hopping on a trend, is that now do you turn your nose up at it because it doesn't seem like it's kind of original and unique and fresh, but more like you're gathering inspiration from someone else. And it's not that, high-end luxury brands grab inspiration from lower-end, contemporary, wherever. They pretty much any price point grabs inspiration from each other. You have, brands that, like I said, higher fashion brands that have been grabbing inspiration from other places, and then you have contemporary brands, or like other H&M and Zara and all of those places that grab inspiration from higher end fashion brands. So they kind of mesh and get inspiration from each other. So that's definitely not the argument I'm trying to make, where I'm saying that if it's a more expensive product, it's okay, or anything like that. I'm totally not saying that at all. I guess my other thought is with that, it goes back to what we feel is acceptable. I think what we are conditioned to feel is acceptable, and what we feel, and it all goes down to perception too, which is something that is not something you just grab out the air. It's what you're conditioned to think, what you're used to seeing, what you're familiar with, and I think that has a lot to do with it too, in addition to personal style. Some people are very flashy and don't mind the big logos everywhere, and some people do. I also think that it's, like I said, we're complex, and so I feel like something where I don't like a logo plastered on a t-shirt, but I may not mind it on a small luxury good, or I may not mind it on a pair of sneakers, or a pair of earrings, because I was looking at a pair of Ferragamo earrings. I think Dior has a cute pair, I think, and then also Valentino, where you can see those as more logo heavy because the logo's there, but at the same time, that's on jewelry. It was kind of subtle, but you could see it still. So that, that blend of everything made it acceptable to me. whereas someone else would say, oh no, that's too much. So it totally depends on personal style. I would like to hear from you guys, and what are your thoughts on it? Definitely check out the article. It is an interesting read, and I would love to have more of a conversation about it. There's definitely a great conversation going on Purseblog, which inspired me to do a video on it because I wanted to film my opinion. And let me know what you think. Definitely, like I said, leave the comments down below. Read the article. Thank you for watching, and let me know if you are enjoying these type of videos. I am thinking about doing more conversational topics, and I do have some more in the works that I'm planning on doing. So definitely give me a thumbs up if you like this concept, like this idea. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you. Have a good day, and I will talk to you again next Wednesday. Bye.